CD Babies DIY Conference 2019 held in Austin, Texas. What did you bring to wear?
It's vacation, you know.
Hawaiian shirt number 1.
So this is my casual look, but for when I dress up, I have this shirt. And I brought this one.
Wow.
And then if I really want to go crazy, the red.
And this is the footwear?
And I have my hikers too.
Crushing it. I love it.
Just change shorts though, shouldn't I?
Do you have other shorts?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're a little lighter. Yeah, I can hide.
Yeah.
They're a little light.
I actually like the light.
Heavier.
Yeah.
These are lighter and more.
Less dingy.
Yeah. So I'm prepared for pretty much anything. I got these cargo shorts. And I got these cargo shorts. So, you know, which one should I wear?
Cool. I can try filming a video. This is so awkward. I'm so uncomfortable right now. Okay. Day 1. So we started out the day at 9 with the keynote speaker, Gina Chavez. She was incredible. Her thing was like, well, singing and songwriting. But the first song she did was with drums. So she sang with the drum set beside her and she was drumming. One nugget that I took away from her is she said making yourself small is one of the most selfish things you can do, because by doing that, you're making everybody else have to tell you your worth. I thought that was really cool, especially as musicians, like or artists, or really anybody, any work, people feel being humble is like, oh no, I'm not good, like, oh no, like, oh, yeah, I'm not the good one, you're good, that kind of thing. We've talked about that before, right? With people giving, how to take compliments.
It's hard to take compliments.
It's so hard to, you've experienced that too.
Yeah.
Hard to take compliments. It is uncomfortable, and it's like a skill to be able to process that. But I thought that was such a good little way of putting that yes, be humble, but know your worth, and don't be afraid. So the second one I went to was how to get playlisted. Great workshop title. A couple things from this. He said it's the day-to-day work that counts. His suggestions were, if you're an artist, if you're like have your own music on Spotify or whatever, a good way to get more listeners and followers is to be on playlists. And his thing was just, it's the manual labor. You've got to reach out to these people, cold emails, find very small playlists at first and see who created them and reach out to them and ask them how they go about creating their playlist. Because you don't want to send them a link right away or say, hey, put my music on your playlist, because that's a turnoff for anybody. So ask them how they curate their playlist, and then that starts the conversation. So after lunch, we came back and I went to a session that was about syncing music. So like to TV, film, trailers, stuff like that. And that was really interesting. He kind of laid it out like what it was, the different types. Like I think the source music, I don't know, I might get this wrong, so correct me if I do. But source music is like a character development. So like your favorite character comes on a screen and this is their song that always comes on with them. There were 4 different types of like work. Like his point was it all takes discipline, because there's one which is like writing on assignment, where you're given due dates and you're given like a topic, you're given the song title, and you just kind of have to, he said, color between the lines, which I thought was a good way to put that. And then temp tracks, I don't remember what that was. And then sound-alikes. He said a big popular sound-alike is like Ariana Grande pop songs or Bruno Mars. Those are like really in right now. And he said supervisors typically listen 5 to 7 seconds of a song. So if you're writing a song and submitting it, intros need to be short and there needs to be ear candy, because 7 seconds most before they know if it would work or not, which is wild. And as an artist, that's really hard because you're like, it's my music. You have to get to the chorus. Oh, you have to hear the bridge. Like, it's so hard to, be okay with that. They have so many songs they have to get through, so it makes sense. After that one, I think, there was like a sync music panel. They did like Shark Tank where they played people's music and you submitted your songs and they told you like if they would take it. And then since you submitted a USB, some of the people would be like, I want a copy of that or whatever. It was cool. Then the last one was with Questlove and Jackie Louise Shorrell. She is the co-founder and CEO of Jacksta, and CD Baby's own Kevin Bruner. He's the one who interviewed them. They talked a little bit about Jacksta and like what it's useful for, and to me it sounds like IMDb for music. I need to do some more research on that to really find out what it is, but it sounds like a cool idea. Basically the concept is their database would have all the names of the people who worked on the songs or projects. Like if you looked up a song, you would see all the writers that were on there. Everything's properly listed, and the database went back to like the 1800s. Isn't that crazy? That's pretty crazy. Questlove, of course, was awesome, and he just kind of talked about his journey and how to do what he does, basically, at the time. He has a book out, too, so he promoted that. I'd say his big tip was just put in the work. I think Questlove, I haven't read his book, so I don't know, but Questlove was referencing Malcolm Gladwell, who I guess was referencing the Talent Code?
Daniel Coyle.
Yeah, Daniel Coyle? I don't know. But that was interesting because it just goes to show that he really believes in that. And he said, never give up on old ideas for like songwriting. They have them so organized on the computer and he just draws from them still, continually. And he said the Roots in him, they have about 30,000 hours of unused music. That's so many hours. But that just goes to show, like, you just got to be prolific. You got to keep writing. You've got to constantly put out quantity, And, like, the Beatles, Dad, you were talking about that.
Yeah, how many horrible songs they had.
Yeah, how many horrible songs they had. Crazy. So that was the last session of the day. The last little tidbit that I took from them, the moderator had asked them if they could give any points, what would they give? And the one that really stood out, which is so simple but really good to hear, is put 3 to 5 things out every day that move you forward. So awesome day 1. Excited for day 2. Tonight we're gonna hit up 6th Street, check out the Austin vibe. It's gonna be fun.
So for those of you that don't go live, I'm going to show you how easy it is, and I'm going to show you why this is important. Instagram is the only social media platform that will notify every single one of your followers that you're live.
He's been talking for an hour and 20 minutes, and he's still going, giving his time to all of these people. If you're just joining, this is the DIY Music Conference in Austin.
Hi, and thank you for being here. Thank you for doing this for everybody. I'm Ron Valencia, and you're listening to Back of the Tracks. I'm here in Austin, Texas for the DIY Music Conference 2019, and I met just a lovely young lady that has so much promise, and I've listened to her music, and I'm just overwhelmed with how brilliant she is as a writer and a performer, and I love your voice.
Thank you.
So thank you for doing this podcast, because I'm really excited to be able to share this with everybody that I know and all the people that I have yet to meet.
Absolutely. Thank you for those kind words and for having me on the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm actually so tired. So, morning started out with the YouTube one-on-one sessions. The YouTube, we call it YouTube office hours. Common theme with the whole marketing and branding stuff is consistency across platforms and having all of your platforms connect to other platforms. Your Instagram, for example, you want to have, if you have a website, your website first, but then accessible links, easy for people to like go to your Spotify or go to your Twitter or go to your Facebook or YouTube. And same thing with Facebook, you want to have things like laid out where everything's accessible. Or if your website's your main thing, just make sure everything's clear to where they can go to different platforms. They have like a free learning center, like learn how to produce, learn how to market them, learn how to do your target audience. This is all on YouTube Artist or Artists for YouTube or YouTubeartist.com or something. Also, there's like a new little music note check, like verification basically. Spotify has it, YouTube now has it. All you have to do is if your music is through, like, you can request it somehow, but with CD Baby specifically, if your music is with YouTube Music and you have a YouTube channel, you can get that little check, which is a good verification, and it shows that your main thing is music. So, back to the YouTube stuff. The algorithm rewards you for being consistent. Nico, the guy I worked with, was like, consistency is very important. So even if you do like Thursdays, every Thursday at 7 p.m., even if it's bi-weekly, the algorithm still catches that it's on time and consistent, which the algorithm rewards you, and you'll get more views and more push in the platform and everything. Also series, if I wanted to do a cover series of all of Dolly Parton songs or something. And he said, as a singer-songwriter, be on top of the charts. You want to create a community to encourage people to subscribe and want to be a part of the community instead of just like seeing you. Shoulder content, which I was telling you a little bit about earlier, but is the padding, like Marshmallow was the example. YouTube Music, that is on the rise. I mean, this was coming from people that work for YouTube.
But they got the numbers.
But yeah, they have like a very ambitious goal.
Cool on this YouTube.
I know. So they can be ambitious. But they said, yeah, this goal's really ambitious, but we put a lot of research into it, and we put a lot of like resources into these goals, and we're goal oriented. That was most of it. So then Rick Barker was how to monetize Instagram. Which is funny because they were like a balance of things. One, it was like how to use Instagram story, like swipe up, add a sticker, like hold this button down. Yeah. Oh, my first note is the crack is free. Try to interpret that. Facebook is asking us to pay now using their platform. Instagram's at the stage where it's not. So like when we met Rick Barker years ago, he was pushing Twitter because it was free and new. Then the last was DMC. He silenced the room. It was nuts. His story, his heart, his new book's out, 10 Ways to Not Commit Suicide. And he basically told his whole story. And he's a great storyteller. Everybody, like, people weren't even taking notes. They were just like engaged. And I just posted a little snippet on Instagram story of him. He's so animated.
To prove to you all that was second to none, we're gonna make 4 MCs sound like one. I'm gonna give me a pen.
And his story hit the heart. He got 2 standing ovations. I stayed and just hung out around there to kind of like hear what he was saying to people and like pick up on things, see the atmosphere. Brendan did it too. We were like the last ones there with a few other people, which was fun and really cool to just like observe all of that. But that was like 2 hours. That line was ridiculous. And they said hi to every one of them. After that, went down to the 4th floor and recorded the podcast. Okay, so I am currently driving to Dallas to have a writing session with my good pal Panis. In the meantime, I thought I'd fill you in on the last day of the DIY musician conference. But the reason I didn't film yesterday was because I was so tired. So, here we are, the day after the conference, and that was such a good experience for me. I highly recommend it if anybody's considering it, because the networking and the friends I made and the sessions, like even if they weren't like, some of them weren't the best, I still got like nuggets of inspiration that really like motivated me and put me in a good mindset for, you know, grinding, which is what this industry and life and career is all about. So, but a couple things. So the first session I went to was a music video session. A couple things I took from her is just like, when you're making a music video, it doesn't need to be the best quality. Of course it needs to be quality and good quality, but like the camera you use doesn't matter as much as the story. So if you have a good story, whether you capture it on an iPhone or some big old fancy camera used for movies, like it doesn't matter as long as you are conveying the story. Second session was the panel. There was a panel on, I think it was titled How to Make the Music Business Work If You Don't Want to Live in Nashville. So it was a panel of artists, musicians who live in like Canada, Alaska, and smaller towns, which I thought was really cool and a nice concept, because nowadays you don't have to live in a big hub to like find producers and stuff, and you can travel. Like, traveling's so much easier. Like, yeah, it costs a little bit, but it doesn't cost nearly as much as it used to. So their big tips were take advantage of the tools you have, like social media, live videos, your local venues, just stuff like that. And the keynote, this was interesting because I sat down for the keynote and they were doing a raffle. So they were calling out names. I was not even listening, and I hear Lauren Gale. Is that how you say it? Gelly Gale, whatever. And I was like, So I walked up there, and I had won, and I didn't even know what I won. It turns out I won these like mini monitor speakers that are like worth $300, I think, something like that. Which is really cool. They're called iLoud micro monitors, which is perfect for like apartment or dorm room, and which is the stage of life I'm in. So that was cool. That was really fun. So then I had to go get those. So I missed like the first half of the keynote speaker. So I came in and heard about his story, inspiring, and he was kind of just like, you got to take care of yourself. You've got to take care of yourself as an artist. And in this industry, it's like really easy to go down the wrong path and to, just get into bad things. And he basically said, don't do it. So overall, it was really good. And then as soon as it was over, met up with my dad and we drove home, made it back to Burleson. My mom had made like a nice little meal for us. She was like, I've been wanting to cook this for you. So she made beef bourguignon. I don't even know how to say that. But it was so good, and then I slept so hard last night. It was such a successful weekend. Highly recommend. I was very skeptical because I'd never been, and I'd heard little things about it. But if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me and ask, and I'd love to share more information about it. I'm going to sign off because I think I just got to Penice's apartment, and I'll talk to y'all later.